Welcome to Rooted to Thrive, conversations to elevate our humanity. I'm your host, Rochelle Peterson-Ansari, Professor P for short. This is your podcast sanctuary for cultivating mindsets and skills to elevate our shared humanity. We're taking a deep dive into practical strategies to evolve as anti-racist, culturally competent, and inclusive individuals and leaders. In each episode, we're bringing you real-world examples and actionable takeaways. We're going to talk about personal growth, fostering connection, and creating positive change that dismantles systemic barriers and creates environments where all of us are valued, empowered, and activate our collective power. This is Rooted to Thrive. Welcome and welcome back to Rooted to Thrive, conversations that elevate our humanity podcast. I'm your host, Professor P, also known as Rochelle Peterson-Ansari. It is wonderful to be here, be back again on your computer, in your phone, and with my special guest, Kevin Covington, who is, we'll say formally, right, Assistant Director of Retention and Outreach at Villanova University, with a career spanning over 20 years. He's done work with the Black Male Development Symposium, worked in the city of Philadelphia on behalf of Black men and boys, that looked at key factors that impacted their lives, such as economic growth and opportunities, healthcare, education, government policies, you name it, right? And now Kevin is at Villanova, and I think you've had some experience at the K-8 level, right?
Yeah, absolutely. A couple of charter schools in the Philadelphia area.
Yes, wonderful. So full circle. And that makes so much sense related to our topic today. But first, Kevin, how are you doing?
I am doing well. It's good to see my birthday twin on here.
Yes, yes. We are birthday twins. Well, a day apart.
Well, yeah, well, still,
Yes, we're a
we,
day
we
apart.
round up or round down, however you want to do it.
Yes. Well, I know people who are born on the same day. I actually have a sibling that was born on my birthday.
Oh, wow.
Yes. I don't know if ever told you that.
No.
Yes. So my sister was born, Nadina was born on December 26th, 6 years after I was born.
Wow.
Yes. We have the same father, different mothers, because that really would have been creepy if we had the same mother and father. But anyway, my birthday twin, always loves talking to you. I don't care how much time passes. It feels like just yesterday, the last time we spoke. So I really appreciate being with you and talking today on the topic education, a key to access choice. Yes. So, Kevin, to get started, would you share just a little bit about your background and how you got involved in this work?
So, going way, way back, my passion was sports marketing. So I was, oh, this is it. Uh, we're going to, at a time, probably, ooh, wow, I was dating myself, probably like mid to late 90s. And there were a number of stories about college athletes doing well on the field, not doing very well off the field.
Mm,
So a friend of mine, Sean Berry, he and I got this idea. Hey, let's put together this business of working with students to build their character so that it'll be a direct offset of what we're seeing in the news so that when it comes to recruiting, these students can say, hey, I've gone through this program. This is my character resume of the things I've done. So we're like, oh, this will be great. In theory, it was great. In practice, I got the education bug. So he wanted to do more or less the athletic training aspect of it. I
mhm,
wanted to do the education character building aspect of it. And with that, I pitched this idea to the late, great John Skeef,
mm.
who, in Philadelphia education circles, people know John. Worked at West Philly High School, got his own charter school, one of the first charter schools in Philadelphia. He recognized and said, listen, what are you guys doing as young professionals to replicate your success? Like, all right, I don't know. So I've got this program. He said, why don't you bring this in? So we piloted the program at Harambe Charter School for fifth through eighth graders every other Saturday of the month, working on character, self-development, self-image, things of that nature, all around, African American and Afrocentric viewpoint that they were getting throughout the school. And from that point, it was just like, you know what? I like this.
Mm.
The marketing thing is cool, but I like this working with students. So went on, ended up getting a job at Harambe, and then went on to another charter school, Kepler Charter School, and just stayed in education. Then went from K to 8, K to 12 world to higher ed, where I went to community college in Philadelphia,
Mm-hmm.
where they had a grant to bring in African American males
Mm-hmm.
into CCP, but also it wasn't just, a college access, it was also getting them through school.
Ah,
So Center for Male Engagement, that happened around 2009. It was just a 1-year grant that got renewed for another 4 and got renewed for another time, and it's still going on.
oh,
Knock on wood. Derek Perkins, who's still down there, love that guy. So doing that work there, and then up till now, went to went from a 2-year to a 4-year school. Got an opportunity to work at a great program called Center for Access, Success, and Achievement at Villanova University, working with not only students of color, but Pell eligible students, first generation students, and just
mm,
students who just have underrepresented identities, and trying to get them or helping them navigate their college lives, but at the same time trying to navigate spaces within their own identities. Because you go to college, everybody thinks, oh, it's going to be great, it's just like it's on television, but oftentimes they don't do well based on the fact that they don't feel connected. So that's where that life's work has been, just trying to be that college advisor and help that I had going through, and I wish
mhm.
that other folks would have.
That's fantastic. And yeah, we also met working on the Black Male Symposium,
Yes.
right? That became its own entity, but it started at Arcadia University. I was working there at the time. And yeah, we were the founding group of people who had what that symposium had a 10-year run.
Yeah. Yeah. And COVID kind of took us out, but
Mhm.
Dr. Lowry, I'm in talks with her now, I should say, to getting that thing back. COVID
Oh,
kind of knocked us
wonderful.
out for a little bit, but it's still needed. With
Hmm.
now a focus, I want to kind of take the focus on those who are working with African American males from grade school through college and beyond. How do we train
Yes.
the trainers?
Yes.
Right.
Wonderful.
How do we get that out? And how do we pull out these lifelong educators who still want to give back?
Thank you. I'm like, sign me up, sign me
Right.
up. Fantastic. Well, we want our listeners to grow and thrive in their ability to be anti-oppressive, right? Do anti-oppressive work that upholds people's human dignity. Can you talk to us a little bit about education, our topic today, education, a key to access? How would you say that connects to the podcast theme of elevating our humanity?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great tie-in because historically, for African Americans here in this country, education was a way, well, one was something that was we were kept out of. You
Mm,
cannot, because I think oftentimes back then and even now, it's a way for you to elevate not only yourself, but for those who are within your family. It's a way for you to make generational changes.
mm,
For those who have an education, for those who are educated, whether it's formally, informally, it opens up options for you. It
mm,
creates that world. It allows you, when you talk about just reading, which is a
mhm,
form of education, it takes you from where you are to where this author now wants to transport you. And to see it, whether it's young students or it's adults who are learning to read or adults who just haven't traveled, it's like, wow, I can do that.
mhm,
I can be this. I never knew about that, because oftentimes we just see what's in front of us, and that
mhm,
becomes our reality. Education then says, no, where you are, we'll take you from where you are and then transport you to somewhere else you never thought really existed. So now
mm,
it can create a hunger to run your own podcast, the hunger to travel abroad and see how other people are living, the hunger to want to teach other people, the hunger to want to just do better than what you are right now. When I say better, I don't just mean financially, 'cause that's one aspect of it, but I'm just saying oftentimes people are like, I just thought I was stuck.
Mm,
And getting this education has showed me a better way that I'm not stuck, that I am in control of my own life. And then I can see those options. And I
mhm,
think right now, I think we're in a very interesting time because I believe that we're now living in a time in which we used to read about. You know,
mm,
books are being banned, and
yes.
you can't see things, you can't say certain things, or people are trying to limit the rights of people. You're like, wait a minute, this was are we talking 1930s? Like, no, 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 this is
Mhm,
2025. And then reading about those times, you think, well, if I were, what would I do if I was back then? Oh, I wouldn't stand for it. Well, now this is our you wouldn't stand for it time. This is it.
mhm,
How do we elevate everyone? How do we elevate humanity? And oftentimes it's about one of the things that really frustrates me is the false belief that people think that some people may think that providing rights to other people limits or eliminates their rights.
right,
And it really isn't.
correct.
So allowing people to be educated doesn't
Mhm,
take away. It doesn't say, hey, you know what, Rochelle, that degree you earned because two other people got it, we have to take yours back. Like, no, this is
mhm,
a large tent. Like, bring more people in.
right.
And that's how we elevate everyone. When we
Right.
start to look at humanity and not groups, not political parties or affiliations or geographically where you're from, you're not really from here. People aren't illegal. Your status in the country is something different, but a person can't be illegal. And where are
Mhm,
we that we have gotten to a point where we stand on a land that was illegally taken, and then we're
mm,
going to try to tell people who can come in and who can't come in? So I
yes.
think one aspect of it is education in the sense that education can then address your poverty level. It can get you out of poverty by getting you that other job or getting you your own business.
Mhm,
Education can show you, you know what, where I'm living right now is a poorly resourced area. How do I then advocate for the people in my neighborhood and then go to city government, state government, federal government to say, hey, we need more resources?
mhm.
It's a way to just open up those options. And I can go on and on and on, but I know you're
Yes.
also
Yes, yes. No, no worries. And I don't have a problem with you going on. But I do want to circle back to what you were sharing about looking at a time that we're in a time that we read about, which means that history is repeating itself.
yes,
Yes. And there is a power in education, right, that helps us avoid or prevent us from going back. And now more than ever, the case is made, in my opinion, for what all of the social justice educators, multicultural educators, anti-racist, anti-oppressive educators have been pushing for, to enter the hallowed halls of academia at the higher ed level, teaching our children at younger ages about history, right? Like about where they were limited, where books were banned, where we were segregated by law, because we are still in many cases segregated. Um, but where would we be, right? Like, could we have had a different experience today if the millions and millions of people understood the history
right,
that they were prevented from learning about in the
right.
past? Hmm.
And I don't know who said it, but I've heard it often enough. The only thing new is the history you don't know.
Mm, come
And
on
that
now.
when you start to look at, well, this couldn't have had this can't happen. No, 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 read. It's happened before.
Hmm.
Now go back and see what happened. What were people's responses when this did happen?
Hmm.
So maybe that information can then come out. And like you said, maybe we just need to kind of get down to a micro level of those times where those small little day camps for little kids, or the community centers where people come. There were people, I think about Frederick Douglass, who, someone who was enslaved and then taught himself to read and write. It's just that which was kept from us is now readily available. And oftentimes we're now told, ah, you don't need education. Don't worry about it.
Hmm.
So, it's like be leery of someone telling you not to go for something that could help you.
Right.
Because if
Exactly.
you start to devalue it, it must have value. Oh, you don't need to vote. Like, really? Why? Like, why are
Right.
you saying that? Or are you keeping those things just to themselves?
Hmm.
This isn't good. It's not right.
Yeah, I know that many people are challenged by the fact that we aren't really exercising that muscle that helps them with critical thinking,
Oh,
right? And it also speaks to a function that many schools have have played, right? Like even if teachers and other educators aren't conscious of it, the masses are taught to follow direction, to follow what someone else says to do as opposed to thinking for themselves. As somebody I had the benefit of, being in honors tracks and, right, like I was elevated in my educational system and thought to be a future leader. Therefore, my critical thinking was exercised.
mm,
And then going to private school for 3 years of high school. I won a grant. I grew up working class poor and, was tapped on the shoulder. Matter of fact, I would not have known about it if an educator didn't expose me to it. But they weren't tapping everyone on the shoulder. Why
right.
not? Right. So that's a whole nother discussion. I'll go down that rabbit hole. But
But I
um
think I think no, but I think you make a really critical point in that as much as I'm touting education,
mhm.
it's not a perfect system.
No.
It
Hmm.
really isn't because, like you said, there was Rochelle, but then there were probably five other Rochelles who weren't talked, who weren't pulled, who weren't tapped
Right.
on the shoulder, who weren't. So then it's like it becomes more of a selection type of thing based on who's the selector.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if it wasn't somebody who looked like Rochelle,
Hmm.
who saw something in Rochelle,
Hmm.
maybe I'm looking at Ronald. Maybe I'm looking at someone else where it's just like, oh, wait, so it's not a perfect system,
No,
but in and of itself, it is a powerful system.
it is a powerful system. Yeah. And I was curious about your personal experiences that shaped your approach to education. I know that you talked about how you got into the work, but when you think back, and it may go further back, right, into how you were socialized, how you were trained, how you were mentored, can you point to one or two things that shaped how you approach education?
Yeah, I think it's 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 really ironic you talk about that tap on the shoulder. So I remember my freshman year of college, and um, I went to a Catholic high school, that private school. Oh, great. But then I got to college and was like, I really wasn't prepared for college. Like, this is a whole new set of rules. People move differently. And it was just like, oh my God, like, what is this? So, I knew where to find the parties, I knew where to find the games, I knew all that stuff. But then for somebody to say, well, I'm just going to the library and study, I'm like, study? Like, we weren't given homework. Like, what are you studying? It's like, yeah, you see the syllabus? Like, what's a syllabus? I didn't have a syllabus in high school. So all these things, it's like, I just realized that other people knew things that I didn't know. And I'm not talking academically per se, just the rules of the game, the rules of engagement. They just knew.
Hmm.
And that part of it I knew was being a first generation college student. So I didn't have that legacy of people who've gone to college and say, hey, listen, this is what you do when you get there, those types of things. So I think my aha moment, I was in the library and trying to do some work, just reading. I've seen people use highlighters, so I'm using the highlighters, still not working for me. And I remember this brother came up to me. His name is Greg. And Greg was, I want to say, a junior or senior on his
Hmm.
way to law school. And he came to me and said, I've seen you around campus. Yo, what's going on? Don't know your name. Introduced himself. And he was like, I see you. I see you in a lot of spots, but I haven't seen you at the library. I haven't seen you at these other academic type spots. And I'm concerned because a lot of brothers come here and then by next semester they're gone. And he just really kind of poured into me that handle your business. Like there will always be another party. There will always be another game, but you've got a finite amount of time to get this degree. And all the other stuff you want to do, you're able to do because you're a student. But the moment you're not a student, you're back home. Say, hey,
Mm.
welcome to Walmart, or you're
Right.
doing whatever. And that was to me like, wow. Like I knew I was struggling, but nobody really put it to me in such a way like, one, I care about you. And then two, these are some of the things you got to do to kind of navigate this space. And I was like, and one of the biggest challenges for me is I didn't know how I learned. I just knew that when somebody put some homework on, I just go to this chapter, da, 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 da. But it took that conversation and me kind of delving into myself to realize I'm a visual learner. So
Hmm.
what I had to do was rewrite all the chapters of the book for me to really get it. And it took a lot of time. And it was sometimes frustrating, but having that conversation with him was like, oh, wow. I didn't know like you really had to do work here.
Right.
And it's so personalized because me as a visual learner, it's different from somebody who's an auditory learner and so on and so forth. But that tap on the shoulder really woke me up to say, oh, yeah, all that stuff you were doing was fun, but you're not here to have fun or just have fun. And it's a lot more fun when you know you've done your work and now you're going out. You know, it's one of those things like only in the dictionary does play come before work. But I was living that life like, oh, what's the party? Hey, let's go play basketball. Let's do it. It's like, dude, like, what are you doing? And if somebody says, yo, I haven't seen you with a book bag or that, those are some of the things I've incorporated now when I talk to my students, like, where's your book bag? Where's your
Right.
stuff?
Hmm.
You know, like, this is school. Like, I get that you're doing all this, your e-board of that and da 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 da, but the moment you fail out of here, there is no a cappella group, there's no dance group, there's no Black Student Union, there's no Latin American student organization that you're going to be a part of because you're not going to be here. So
Yeah.
first things first. So that to me was that tap on the shoulder of, and he was somebody who I saw at parties. This was a brother who was a Q,
Hmm.
like, and they were partying, but Greg was handling his business. And I was
Okay.
like, wow, okay, the business side of this, I get it. And that was my
Mm.
aha moment.
That's right. And those are basic life lessons. But to your point about access to choice, that's where you can learn. That's where in education, through education, especially at the college level, so post-secondary, you can have experiences, or at least many of the organizations are set up for, that allow you to have experiences to exercise your independence, learn to prioritize. And from what I'm also hearing you say, and I agree with, is that there are many institutions that have mentors.
Yes.
Yes, that mentors are critical in, right, in helping you course correct as you learn.
Yes. And I want to give a full shout out. His name is Greg Ray. Greg Ray
Okay.
is an attorney now. So if Greg happens to watch, if somebody's watching this and listen to it, and shout out to Greg Ray, who I affectionately call my Morpheus and
Okay.
pulled me out of the matrix. Like, and there were other brothers too, and I think that's key too. I was able to see myself in him.
Mm,
And it's not that I wouldn't have taken that advice from someone else, but the fact that he looked like me. It was another Black man saying, yo, it's all fun, but this is not all fun. And
right.
this is why you came up here. You came up here
R-
for, you didn't tell everybody
right.
home you were here to just be here just for a semester. And you need that. That mentorship is huge. But I'd say a part of that too is you have to be open to be mentored.
Yes.
The African proverb, when a student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Yes.
If you are ready to then say, you know what, somebody's going to critically think about my life and then give me some critiques about where I need to be. You have to be open to all of that and then say, all right, this is what I'm going to do to take corrective action. But that mentor, a lot of people, oh, I want a mentor. It's like, yeah, but it comes with a cost. And it's a
Yes, it
great
does.
thing. And it doesn't have to be just one mentor because a lot of A lot of mentors in my life, Dr. Lowry, are women,
Mm-hmm.
Black women who've gone before me. Like, I see what this is going to, I see where you're going, or hey, you should be you should look at this for as a career, something like somebody who knows you and who can and speak into your life. And we're talking about elevating humanity. That's what that's about too. You can't see
Right.
someone struggle and not say anything. You can't
Mm.
bypass. Somebody's. I'm just going to be a bypass. Nah, no, no, no. You got to be, if you care about somebody, that humanity
Mhm.
piece. We're all in this. We've all struggled. So why not save somebody episode 2, 3, and 4 of a bad season? Say, listen, I've gone through that. I'm gonna save you those three episodes. This is what you need to do, and it gets you a little further. And they're like,
Yes,
oh wow, well, thank you. That's that mentor piece. It doesn't have to be a long-term relationship. Sometimes that mentor is just that moment.
that's right.
I'm gonna save you some time and
Mm.
speak this into your life, and you go ahead. And I think right now, the challenge we're up against is the impact of social media, where people just kind of picking up stuff by a couple clicks, but it's not personalized. So what we do is get this generic message to millions of people where it may just benefit one or two, but we've got millions thinking I can do that.
Right. That's right.
Which
That's
circles back to
right.
the education piece. You got to get your education. You got to be able to critically think and filter through what you're getting to say, is this for me?
Right. Is this for me? Yes. And so, to that topic, right? A key to accessing choice. We could talk about so many different sectors or areas of life, right? So break it down for us. If we're talking about access to choice, what kind of choices are we talking about?
So oftentimes people, when they decide, okay, well, I'll use college as an example. Oftentimes people say, you know what, either I'm going back to school to get my degree or get a certificate. It's because they want a choice. They realize where they are isn't where they want to be. So they're not in
Mm.
their ideal state, and their ideal state is where they want to be. So the choices then go from, what is it that you love to do? How do we find a school that then can get you certified or get you a degree in that? And within that, you then start to see, oh my God, this is what I thought I wanted to do. It was project management, but I
Mhm.
took this class in critical race theory, or I took this class in communication, and now I see, like, I want to be a facilitator. I want to be, a consultant. I want to, but you go in with one thing in mind, but because there's so many options within that school, within that college or university, and you're open to it, now you're starting to reevaluate yourself and what you really like to do. Because oftentimes what happens is people are on a path because that's what they've always been doing.
Right.
While I'm working at a hospital, so I thought the natural thing for me to do is get an advanced degree or something and continue that. But I'm seeing now I've got this real love for public relations,
Mhm.
marketing. I want to do maybe public administration, where I'm doing on a governmental side, because I took a couple of classes as a part of my program, and now I've got these different options where I'm like, I don't have to continue on that road. I can still
Mhm.
build skills in that way, but now it's introduced something else to me. And that's when the light goes off for a lot of students, no matter what age they are, where they then start to realize, I don't have to. Like, I'm in control of my life. I'm the CEO of my college life. So now, or I'm just the CEO of my life. And now I can say, you know what? I can pivot.
Right.
And the world won't end if I don't become that registered nurse, because I went from an LPN, and, the natural, I just want to do a registered nurse, RN. But
Mhm.
I've got this love for, maybe I want to stay in healthcare. Maybe I want to be a physician's assistant.
Mhm.
Maybe I want to be a hospital administrator. I'm really good at talking to people. Maybe I'm on capital budgets where I'm, bringing in money to the hospital. I'm still in healthcare, but
Right.
it's also building. I'm building skills in other ways, and I'm bringing out who I truly am. And there are a
Yeah.
number of books out there for people to discover, like, what their strengths are and things like that, and if you want to change jobs or whatever. But when we talk about the starting point of, I know I want to go back to school, start to then look at what some other classes are. Just don't be on that narrow track. And that's fine. If you got a finite amount of time, it's just like, okay, I need to get this done.
Mhm.
But take a class, take a an elective here and there, just to see, to put your toe in the water, just to see some things. And I guarantee it'll open up some things. You're like, whoa, I could do that and this. It's a wonderful thing when people realize it's not either or, but it's both and. I could do this
Yes.
and this.
Yes. And so choice is getting exposure, right? Like, so the access to choice is one, if you're exposed, you're going to be exposed through education to options that you might not otherwise be exposed to,
Right.
right? Like many of us, people have much more access to career information and, different careers now. But I know growing up, you heard about three different things, and that was it.
That's it.
Doctor, lawyer. Actually, I guess I heard about nurse because I was
Right.
being pushed in that direction
Yeah.
as a female. Definitely a teacher, right? So you knew the
Oh,
teachers
absolutely.
and principals were there, and there was not much else out there, right? Like not and no discussion about leaning into your strengths,
No.
right? So yeah, so that exposure gives you choice. What other things, what other choices are there as a result of this education?
I think just the option of, I think study abroad is great. Like
Mm,
it minimized during COVID, obviously, but now it's back opened up. The ability to go and study in another culture, in another place, to then challenge what you're used to is
yes.
phenomenal. You can
Mhm.
then go and go to Ireland and see how people are doing things, or go to Africa, go to other places in Europe, and you're like, wait a minute, I never saw myself doing this. And then you come back, you can't be unchanged. And
Right.
then you come back, and you're like, oh my God, wait, I want to do that. So then it maybe creates that passion in you to then travel again, maybe outside the education realms. But because that seed was planted while you were, through education, now you're like, oh my God, I do have this option. And
Yes.
it's not just for quote unquote young people, because there are people who go back to school. It's like, well, wait, my kids are grown. Why can't I spend a summer in
Mm,
London
that's right.
and kind of think, and study, I don't know, go to Brazil and study the rainforest, or,
Mhm.
other options are, you know what, maybe I just want to look at being able to do some research. I want to
Yes.
take some time and just work with someone who's doing research, whether it's healthcare, whether it's sociology, just,
Mhm.
and you then get exposed to other things. You're like, well, wait a minute, I didn't even know this was a career. To your point, it's like, I didn't know this was a career. People actually, you can do this? Like, yes. And there are some
Yes.
places that will pay you to do it. Like, oh no, we will
Mhm.
fund your research to do this. You're like, oh, what? Wait, what?
That's right.
I
And
think
and
I think we moved from a shift of, here's a one piece of paper of all the things you can do as a career, to now it is so many that you can't even get your hands around it. And you could sit there like, oh my God, I'm stuck. Like, I don't know what to choose. And then there are jobs that haven't even been labeled or created as of yet that will be in vogue 5 years from now, 10 years from now.
that's right.
But you can work on the skills to then prepare yourself for those jobs.
That's
What we're
right.
starting to look at, I'm like, oh my God, like I saw something about a year or so ago, like the number one real estate company is like Airbnb. They don't own a
Mm,
property, but when you tell everybody knows Airbnb,
yes.
like the largest transportation company or those providing transportation to people, Uber, they don't
Mhm.
own a vehicle.
Right.
We
That's
would
right.
not have thought that 10 years ago.
Not at all. Mm-mm.
But
I'm like,
what you can do online and what you can create, because if you start to solve a problem, you then have a business, or you
mhm,
then have a profession where it's like, this will be something that people are going. Now we're talking about AI,
mhm. Yes.
using artificial intelligence, how we use that, and how it's just phenomenal. But if you try to do this on your own, it's not impossible, but it's not filtered. But when you come to education, you go to get your education, it's like, okay, it's filtered under these classes. And so now we've kind of moved out some of the things you don't really need to know
Mhm,
and got you some of the things you really need to know. Like, what is it about AI? What is it about this? What is it about that? It's like, oh, wow,
mhm.
I've got that. And oftentimes you then network and then you connect with people who are not only teaching, but I have a business to doing this, or I used to work for companies doing this. And if you're really interested, I can connect you with, you're like, well, wait. I'm going from student to possible someone with the internship to intern to then, wait, this could be a job. I
Mhm.
hadn't thought about all this. Like, yeah. And sometimes it moves so quickly that you're like, oh, wait, I just didn't know. I wasn't ready for it. It's all about the options. And I'd say
Yeah.
lastly, or just on this point, people tend to do their actions are dictated by what they perceive are their choices, what they perceive are their options. So if
Mhm.
I have limited options, I'm not going to make a choice all the time that's in my best interest. We see that in places where there are food deserts. I don't have many supermarkets around here, so I'm going to the fast food, or I'm going to the corner store to pick up this, and it fills that immediate need. But long term, we know what happens to the body of years of just having soda and burgers and whatever else fried, as opposed to I've got this store, I've got that store, I can cook for myself, I can, I've got this produce junction here. I
Mhm.
think the same thing is true with education. When you limit your options and you say that's not what I want to do, I don't want to, this form, like when I'm done high school, that's it. I don't want to go back to school. School wasn't for me. You sometimes prolong your journey to getting where you want to be, and you
Mhm.
certainly limit your options of what you can be. Whether some
Yes.
job is looking for you to have a degree, or we just looking for a quote unquote well-rounded person, but because you came straight out of high school and you went into this job and you've just kind of been on that treadmill of just I'm just working da 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 da. I didn't get to go out. I've
Yes.
known people who are in their 50s who just started to get on a plane
Mm.
because they challenged themselves to just trying to go out, and it's like I'm going back. I traveled once, I'm going back. Now I have those options because what I believed I couldn't do, I just did until I challenged myself.
Yes, yes. And more of us need to be challenging ourselves. This is such a rich discussion, and you can tell you are working with students. Right? I could just hear you in their ears right now. Well, one of the things that we've talked about previously when it came to access to choice was quality of life as well. Can you speak a little bit about access to education as a source of access to choice for one's quality of life too? Because I think everybody needs to hear this.
Yeah, it's when you have the choice that the education can give you, and it opens up your whole world. Like we spoke earlier about traveling abroad, and even
Yes.
for some people, it's like even if you just get out of your own city slash state and just to see how things are done and just understand that there are people who have different diets, um, it broadens your horizon. But at the same time, if we circle back to the humanity aspect, you start to realize that not everybody is the same. People have different challenges in their lives, but we all want something better. And
Mhm.
not stuff wise, just a quality of life. I just want to be able to just have safety. The Maslow hierarchy of needs. I just want to be safe. I want to be able to laugh. I want to be able to, if I want a family, I want to be able to raise a family. I want to love who I want to love. And
Mhm.
it's just, people say, well, how can education do that? It starts by opening your mind to understanding that we're all connected in some way. And
Yes.
if we're all connected, we should all want the best for one another and not be an obstacle for anyone. And then
Mhm.
through those interactions, we then start to learn from one another. It's like, wow, you know what? I always wanted to be an accountant, but I didn't know how. And then that person you're connected to is like, let me introduce you to this person. I went through this. I know you said it's expensive. There's a program that's out. They pay for 80% of your tuition. But because you had that connection, you're starting to open up those options. You're starting to see. And then let's say this fictitious person does become an accountant. It's like, you know what? I don't have to now work 2, 3 jobs.
That's
I
right.
don't have to then worry about taking time off to go to parents' night because I haven't been able to make those because I had to work 2, 3 jobs. But this one job now allows me, I'm there. And it's better
Mhm.
connected me with my family.
Mhm.
We're now taking vacations. It's all that whole quality of life. I don't feel stressed anymore, or I can manage my stress. It just kind of it's a positive domino effect. Dominoes fall, but it's a positive domino effect that things then start to open up for you, and then you approach life a lot differently. because
Mm.
once someone's helped you and you've made those connections, you naturally want to help someone else.
Yes.
And and so on and so on and so on, that whole pay it forward thing. So we talk about a quality of life where I don't feel as stressed. And if I'm not feeling stress, I'm not as selfish because when we're stressed, we're just worried about us.
Mm.
I just got to get me out of this. I got to deal with this for me. When we're not going through that, I've got time to sit with somebody. I've got some time to sit and share my experience with someone. I've got some time to perhaps send somebody something I saw online that I know you're interested in that
Mhm.
doesn't really interest me, but I know you're interested in.
Right.
And hey, I'm going to share that with you. And then that
Mhm.
person's so grateful, and then they start to do things. That's one of the things I really love doing. You're talking about quality of life. I love being a connector. I love being able to talk to people about what it is they like and
Mhm.
then take it on for myself as you know what? It's my responsibility to put you at least one step closer to the goal that you talked about.
Wonderful.
And then that
Yeah.
just it really just opens up and it's just like, okay, you know what? When you start to build that and that's your legacy of helping other people, how can you have a poor quality life? Because then you start to move in circles like, I know that's Dr. P. That's Professor P. She told me this about 10 years ago, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, oh my God, yeah, you remember that?
I just had that
It,
experience recently too.
yes, yes.
Yes.
It was Rakim who said, I get a welcome mat wherever I'm at. You want that in your
Mm,
life. You want to
I
be able
love
to
it.
be in spaces where people want you to come through and welcome you. So yeah, so that it does improve your quality of life.
Yes, and you have a clear value for the interdependence of people, right? And giving forward
Yes.
as well. These are values, right? That guide you and help you make choices, but you're not in a grind per se, right? Where you have to be selfish, like you mentioned, and even if you had those values. And I also wanted to point out that what you've been sharing, I keep hearing the theme of cultural competence, right?
Mhm.
People interacting, going abroad. You will learn about yourself when you travel abroad. Like when you spend significant time. Sometimes that doesn't happen in a week, especially if you're on a resort. But
Right.
if you go to literally study and learn in another country, then so many things that are givens to us, right? Culturally, we breathe them in like air. They are compounded, right? You start seeing how people make different decisions, and they are just as real and foundational to them as your own are in your own country. It is a powerful experience to have. And I
Yeah.
recommend it for anyone and anybody who does have first generation, like college students. And they may be first generation high school and the high school is going,
Mm.
or I know some schools where the eighth graders go abroad as well. But you have people who have never been much further than their block, right, or their neighborhood, uh, as parents tend they I'm not going to say everyone, I don't make a generalization, but I've seen many first generation students say they won't take advantage of some programs that have been almost free
Hmm.
because their parents are too scared for them to go or their
Right.
caregivers are too scared. It is life changing.
It
it,
is.
it is life changing for people.
It is. And it's in that example too. Oftentimes you inherit your family's muscle memory. So
Yes.
even though you want to go,
Mhm.
they're hesitant. So you take that on yourself and it then limits you. And you don't want to tell them, in an advisor or mentor capacity, you don't want to say your family's holding you back. But it's
Mhm.
like, this is your journey.
Right.
So if this, tell me what your fears are, and then
Mm.
we can try to address them one at a time. Like this is, well, what if I have this? What if it's like, nope, you don't have to worry about all this is paid for. All you need to do is this. This is what you're going to be doing. And I guarantee you're going to be with a group of people. You guys are going to meet before you go. You're all going to go together. And it's just like, oh. Wow. Yeah. Because when you start to then address their fears and then start to, quell those fears, like, okay, now it's just really now what's standing in your way?
Right. Exactly.
And it is very humbling sometimes, depending on where you go. As Americans, we travel, say, what do you mean there's no Wi-Fi? What do you like, yeah, but they still get along without it. Life goes
Yes.
on. Like, okay, so your phone's not going to work right now. What else can you do?
Right.
Look in your surroundings, talk to people, connecting
Hmm.
humanity. Like, oh my God, take the pods out of your ears, just get out of your phone and just talk. What is everyday life for them here? What is it like for you where you are? And that's it's amazing. And even if it's like you said, even if it's not traveling abroad,
Mm-hmm.
if you haven't left your own area code, your own zip
Zip
code,
code. Mm-hmm.
it's just because we know some people are just like I've not even left this little pocket. Like, no, I don't even, you know, as somebody, people from Philly, there are folks in South Philly who don't go to North Philly and
Hmm.
vice versa. Like 50, 60, 70 years old. Like, I've never been to South Philly. Like, never?
Right.
And then there are
Hmm.
people who are like, well, I've gone to Jersey, sure, I've gone to Delaware, but I said, you've never gone to Maryland? You've never gone to DC.
Hmm.
You've never gone to Florida. You've never seen, California. You've never been to another coast. It's like, well, no, like, why? But then the question is like, why not? Just to see
Hmm. Hmm.
what it's like. And then
Yes.
people are like, you kind of get, like I talked earlier about the education bug, you get that traveling bug, like, oh my God,
Hmm.
like I can do this. Like the world didn't stop. It's
Right.
okay.
Right. And then as an adult, now I have to make the funds to make that happen.
Yeah, yes. I'm now responsible for my own happiness.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, Kevin. You have dropped so many nuggets for people of all ages today
Thank you so much.
on, yes, on education and its power to give us access to choice. That's something that I do deeply believe in. I did not coach you into that topic. You came up with it on your own, but we're birthday twins. We're
That's it.
like-minded people.
Like-minded. There you go.
Exactly. But I can't thank you enough for all that you have shared today. Well, are there any last comments, any last piece of advice you would like to share with our listeners on their journey to center human dignity and elevate humanity?
Yeah, I would say as a challenge, and it's not really a hard challenge to everybody to continue either start or continue to learn about people who don't share your social identity.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is like learn about somebody who doesn't look like you, who perhaps you think you have nothing in common with, and just learn about them, learn about the
Mhm.
culture, learn about a different culture other than yours. And then you start to realize that we are connected. And there are some things that, like a Venn diagram, we have in common, and there's some things we may not have in common, but there's beauty in differences too. It helps you then appreciate someone else's journey, appreciate someone else's life, and then perhaps build that passion in you or that curiosity in you to want to learn more and then share what you've learned.
Right.
Say, oh, you know what? I did not know. We talk about, this coming week is Mardi Gras, and a lot of people talk about it. Find out what's the history of Mardi Gras. What's the specific Black history of Mardi Gras?
Mm-hmm.
Go there. There's so many things in this country alone that have been hidden gems and jewels. And in a time in which we're trying to divide people up like laundry, we're separating the whites and the colors and the delicates and it's we wear them all together and it makes a beautiful outfit.
I never heard that analogy before. Separate the whites and the colors.
And it's just
Mhm.
like we're trying to separate them all out. And it's like
Yeah.
we still getting the same washing machine, we still getting the same dryer, we still get onto the same body, but for
Mm-hmm.
some reason we've placed the value on one and not on the other, and it's
Mm-hmm.
only because we've not tried to communicate with one another, or when we communicate, we're trying to push our own agenda. Just come agenda less, and just
Mm.
try to learn about someone who doesn't share your social identity, and I think you'd be amazed. And if it's not a great experience for you, guess what? There are probably a million more others that you can go talk to.
And that is a wonderful note to end on. I appreciate you once again for taking the time to share with us. Now, how can people find you after this episode?
Well, I'm not a big social media person, but I am on LinkedIn, Kevin
Okay.
Covington at LinkedIn. I'm at Villanova University. Like I said, we're trying to pull back, we're trying to get back the Black Male Development Symposium. So those spaces, anything around African American interests. And no, I'm not limiting it just to African American, but I think you need to kind of look at, understand, and help your own house before you go help someone else in their house. So in those spaces, yeah, you can find me there. And educators in the city of Philadelphia, in the state of Pennsylvania, you're probably 1 or 2 degrees of separation. Like if you don't know me, I'm sure we know somebody together
That's true.
that's around that whole education piece. So yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. Thank you. And so, once again, I want to thank you, my special guest, birthday twin, Kevin Covington, for imparting your knowledge, spending time with us. And I am sure you have poured something valuable into everyone who will listen. Somebody's going to get, if not everything, something from this episode. And to our Rooted to Thrive tribe, thank you for being here as always and being willing to grow. But before you go, please leave a comment, subscribe, and share this episode. And thank you again for listening to Rooted to Thrive.